Greetings, dear beautiful spirit soul that you are. It's great being with you. It's great being right here, standing barefooted, feeling the earth, the sole of my foot with the sole of the earth. That flexibility. You know, I used to wear all those really sharp, tall, high heels for a long time. And that's when I had back trouble. And I remember how good it always felt to take the shoes off, finally, you know. And, but, you know, that's all like a scam of shoemakers. So we got to have the right looking shoes. And it's really, really important. Instead of, it's always about the pretend instead of the real. It's about the show, you see. My topic is know thyself. And you have to know the difference between what's true and what's false, what's real and pretend. And when we lie to ourselves, that's the very worst thing. Because if you're trying to fool yourself, you're perpetuating your own suffering. And suffering is self-perpetuating. And have you ever heard misery loves suffering? Company. Misery loves suffering. Misery loves company. So miserable people want you to be miserable people. People who are critical want you to be critical. People who are, what would you say, order takers want you to be an order taker. It's like we want to tend to duplicate ourselves in others. We want them to be like us, instead of just to be able to experience the real. Why are we so immersed in the false, the pretend, the illusion that you are this physical body when you have a spiritual body that basically we all do, that's been dormant because we've been choosing to acknowledge our real self is the temporary, and that the real, the who we are, the eternal, isn't us. And you only have one choice, basically. You're going to die. You're going to live till you die, and then you're going to do it again, because each time you die, then you get another body, and then you get that other body, and you can keep learning more and getting the next lesson to what? What's the goal? Anybody say, what's the goal? Well, the goal is then when you attain this. Really? Who said? What do you mean the goal? We're already there. You can't get what you don't have, you see. And when you know thyself, you have to know the difference between what's really who and what, when you're really who you are, and when it's just the facade. It's just the pretense. And that's how I know it, man. I used to go to those, cocktail parties, and you stand around with the drink in your hand, and everybody's looking to see if there's somebody better than you to be talking to, and you're looking to see if there's anybody better than them to be hanging out with, going to get you something, whatever it is you're looking for, or hang around the hors d'oeuvre table, whatever. And, oh, you're looking good, I'm hearing good things about you, blah, 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 blah. And I realized, so that was yucky. It always felt yucky. And then it was always who looks really good and who's, we're going to be critical. And it was so great to get rid of all of those shoes. And I realized all the cruelty that went into everything that I was doing in my life, because almost everything there for all of us is based on killing. Killing you, killing who you are, and you can't die. So it has to be, and then the biggest con is to believe people. Somebody wrote on, one of the comments on YouTube, what do you mean you can't die? I'm going to lose my body. I'm not, but I've already told you, you're not your physical body. No. That's your covering, that's your garment, and it's magnificent, but it's a copy. You have to get that. The copy of the divine. So instead of being the real and who we are and knowing the difference between real and pretend, because we have that ability to take on whatever character we want, to create, in a sense, a false persona, whatever we desire. But it's also, you have to promote that then, and you have to advertise that, and you have to protect that. And then there's also, you get into the whole thing of duality and competition, and there's not enough because there's scarcity, which is the first law of economics. And then you got the money system. And, it's like you've got all of this that is false. People in ancient times, if we go back to our roots, and people say, well, they weren't civilized. Well, that's great. You know what the word civil means? Civil means to basically pretend to get along. Pretend to really like them when you can't like them, don't like them at all, you see, because if they're all competition. They could like you one minute and hate you the next. You never know what they're going to do. So you got to be able to put you got to be able to have spies. You got to be able to keep the thing going over here, because you don't know. We got to keep this false. So everybody says, keep the false going. Keep it all going, and more time. Well, this is what's good. You're going to go transhumanism, and they're going to show you the zombie. Those people are zombies already. They're walking around in a daze each day of their life, and they, as if you only have so many days of your life, and then someone leaves their body, they're dead. No, they're not. Please. And if you take a look at how much, if you go to know yourself, how everything about one's life, if you really start to look at it, they're made of thoughts, words, suggestions, definitions, meaning, where you accept and believe. And I was looking at the other day when I was meditating, it was like to really accept and know yourself. You see, because then that little mind comes in. Yeah, but wonder if the bad thing happens and you won't be ready for it. So you better get ready for it to know that it's there. Yes, thank you, mind. That's not my mind. I wasn't thinking. It was playing, and I was listening. And I could see and perceive what is that basic hypnotic trance suggestion belief that you die and you were born. I say we appeared and then we disappear, you see. You have to call things the way they are closest, but even that isn't it, because it's not the way it is. So when you know yourself, look at when you're pretending. Look at when you get irritated. Look at when someone pulls your chain. Look at when you hate somebody. Look at when you are afraid of something. Just notice, where is that coming from? Do you know yourself? Or are you protecting and promoting a false persona? And you look at who celebrities are, and you look at so-called movie stars. These are personas. That's not who the person is. Politicians, you don't know who these people are. So-called world leaders. What's a leader? It's a letter. L-E-A-D is lead, and it's also another word for the word lead. And you got LED lights. Come on, start to look at, it's in the language, to make us languish in the language that we are bespeaking upon ourselves as if we are this false persona that needs promotion, that needs protection, that needs validation, that needs agreement, that needs acknowledgement. We go on and on and on, building the false. Now there's always more information in there too. We're going to go there, and we're going to go into outer space, and then we're going to inner space. What about going to within the space within yourself? You're not living in the outer world. It's you. And when you look at, if you're suffering, you're causing it in some level. You agreed to it. And now we can agree with ourselves in the truth that always is. And it's up to you. And it's like, people will think I'm out of my mind. They're competing with you anyway. They don't like you. They like you in a minute, terrified of you in the next minute, hate you in the next, whatever. Because true people, real people, are always endeavoring for the welfare of all. And they love. Because love means to care for. Love means to work for and endeavor for the wellness and the health and the vitality of all living entity, which is basically get back to what's natural. The further you get away from what's natural, the more you get into the virtual. And then the virtual reality, people are suffering from fantasies within their own minds. Thinking it, rethinking it, but they can't even sleep at night, torturing themselves, stop breathing, stop being in life. What's going to happen to me? That you better wonder what's going to happen to you. You see, you're an eternal being. You need to know that. And the investment has got to be in yourself through knowledge. And there's ancient knowledge, and there's great knowledge and wisdom to help you get to the own part where you have your own knowledge and realizations. And yet how I know how your mind works, they're all the same. There's no difference. Different languages, but that's why it's generated the fear-based. And then you get to the violence, and then the hatred, and that God says hate, and this God says love. It's the same when you're dealing in the duality. You go beyond that to know thyself. You have your own God, your divine presence that you are part of, your beloved. And in that, the missing element is the personality of the divine, the sweetness, the one who does it all for you see. He said, well, I'm not giving my power to anything outside. No, but you got to know where your power is coming from, you see. And the source of your power. To be resourced is to be sourced again. It's called the human resource. That's right. To resource your energy, your consciousness, your endeavors, your work. You see, when you know thyself, that's your greatest investment, whatever it takes, because then you liberate yourself from the prison that you've agreed to live in, you see, thinking you are free, but not having any understanding or knowledge of how you function and what's going on and how it operates, you see, and what it takes, because the real key, if you can measure it, it's not you. If you can count it, it's not you. If it has a frequency, it's not you. See? Know thyself, and you're free. And now you're free. What do you do with your freedom? You tune in. You see? You become a master. Yes. I do my grandmaster mentoring. I'm looking, there's 3 little ducky girls right here. I think they're ducky girls because they don't have they're still little bit babies. But it's so sweet. And they're not afraid of me because they're looking for the food. You know, when you tune in, you're in the special place, the sweetness of the self. So sweet. Life is sweet because you're sweet and you are life. Know thyself. Be who you are.